In my home, I personally love decorating with whimsical, charming decor pieces for the fall season. In today's episode, we're going to be using the most random things from the Dollar Tree to create items just of that nature. I want to welcome you all into my craft studio. I'm so grateful you all stopped in. Now come along and let's make something beautiful for our homes. This project is so whimsical and one of my new favorites. I'm using some wire and oval wood plaque, 2 circle wood plaques, a 2-inch circle, 2 3-inch circles, a candle stem holder, 2 of these wood craft sticks, and then I have an even smaller circle you're going to see in a minute. It's a 1-inch circle. The littler circles, I get those from Hobby Lobby when they have their sales, as well as that candle stem, but everything else was from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint everything black because I'm making a cute spider. I don't do creepy things for my home for Halloween at all. I am more of a harvest fall celebrator, but I think spiders fall into that category because I see spiders in my garden all the time, so they fall into the category of what I decorate. Once everything was dry, I went ahead and sanded it all. For those 2 craft sticks, I did glue those 2 craft sticks together to make the base thicker, and you're going to see what we're going to do with it in just one more second. But give everything a nice sanding coat along all their rims, all their edges, and then we're going to start to assemble it. For the 2 3-inch circles, I did paint those white because that's the whites of the eyes of the spider. Now we're going to make the wired legs. This is super simple. The wire length is about 6 inches long. I'm going to turn up one end just like this, and then I'm going to twist it into place. And I don't want anything to be scratchy or pokey, so I'm going to use my wire snips, and I'm just going to tighten that really tightly on there and then shape the foot. And it's almost like a little jelly bean or a water droplet. Just think a foot for a spider. And then I'm going to start to arc out that wire so that it's rounded a little bit for his leg. And then I'm going to swirl in the other end. And this is going to allow us to be able to glue everything into place. That is the hardest part. Now we're going to assemble everything. I will say I have one regret. I wish I would have painted the other side of these wood rounds because it would cause it to not have a little bit of a seam. After I glued everything together, I came back in and I painted. So just make sure you add some paint. Now you can see I'm putting a dollop, the leg, another dollop, and now I'm going to bring the back of the spider on. Everything is going to be concealed on the inside. It's going to look so nice and clean, just like you purchased it at a store or a darling boutique. Then I'm going to put on the spider's head. I'm going to bring in his 2 cute googly eyes. And then the smaller 1-inch round, I'm going to put those right closer to each other in the center. So it looks like he's a little cross-eyed. Adorable. Now you could avoid having him stand up. I wanted mine to stand up. You could put it where there is something coming up from his bottom side so it looks like it's his web that's dangling down on a door if you don't want him standing up. So it could become a wreath of some sort, or you can make it with a stand. I decided to make mine with a stand, whichever one you want to go with. And then I wanted to decorate the craft sticks that he's standing up on. I thought this was a cute place to bring in some orange, cream, white, a little bit of black. You can add in whatever colors you want that go with your fall decor. But isn't he just so charming? I just love this little spider so much, and my daughter, who's afraid of spiders, even thought it was so cute. She's like, "Oh, Mom, I like that spider." That's it. I hope you give this one a try. It's so whimsical and so adorable for the fall season. I think a well-decorated home has cute little dilly bobs all over it. It's not always about having big, substantial pieces. So what we're going to do, we're going to take these clothespins and a whole bunch of fabric, and we are going to stain them into a darker color. It's really simple. I'm just using some water, a little bit of black paint, a lot of brown paint, and I'm going to create a nice stain, a chestnut stain, or I wouldn't even say mahogany. I would go with like a chestnut stain, but you could make it mahogany if you put a little touch of red in there if you wanted it. I'm going to just paint all of these. It absorbs into the wood beautifully, and once they were dried, I moved on to my fabric. Now I'm going to just create a whole bunch of these strips where they're about 2 inches or 1.5 inches. And then this part's super simple. I'm just going to put a little dot of glue and then wrap those fabric strips around the clothespins. This is such an easy project, but it's so substantial on a shelf, on a table, in a bowl, sitting on your coffee table. They just are so cute, and it's a great way to bring in color that you're doing for your home for the fall season. I like to stick always with traditional fall colors because that's just my thing. But you just wrap it all around nice and tight, and then you can decide how you're going to pin it off. So you can use a straight pin from sewing, you can use little clothespins, you can use twine, or you can just glue it. You can also use ribbon if you have a whole bunch of ribbon. This is a really fun thing to do as well. And then to give it that distressed look, I'm going to add some twine. I'm going to use my chestnut ink stamp. I like to use that sometimes instead of putting water or paint on fabric. I'll just use my stamp. You're going to see me do it in just a second after I tie this knot. And it gives it a nice distressed look without it being too distressed. But again, you go as distressed as you want. I love when the fibers are coming loose on these fabric pieces, which is the reason why I rip it. I do a snip and I rip. And it just turns out so cute. Now I'm going to go and style these in a bowl, and it is just going to look so pretty on a shelf. This sign is super popular at the Dollar Tree, and they bring it back every single year. It's in the woodcraft section. I love the idea still of having signs in my home. I know that they were trendy and then not trendy, but I'm going to say I think they're still fun and trendy. I am going to be using the sign, some of the tumbling blocks from the stacking block game that they have in the kids section at the Dollar Tree, and then 2 of these half wood rounds, because when I take off that twine, I'm going to have those holes there, and I'm not going to want to see that. I am going to take those tumbling blocks and I'm going to glue them all together. And there is one step I'm going to point out in just a second where I'm going to help stabilize it when it stands upright. How I forgot to put that part on these 2 little extra legs. And I want everyone to know I am not burning my fingers. First of all, my fingers are very calloused over from using hot glue gun for years. But my hot glue gun, I also don't let it get super hot where it can be dangerous. So I have a medium temperatured hot glue gun that doesn't allow me to get burned, but I do not recommend rubbing your finger across hot glue. It's just how I craft. If you've been crafting for a long time, you probably do it too. For new crafters, let it cool for a couple of seconds, and then once it's cool to the touch, then you can wipe away anything that spills out, or you can use a scraper blade, which I have sitting over there to the left that's green and orange. I love using that because it helps me get up any glue I don't want on there. Now at this point I'm going to start to paint it, but you can see the additional stacking blocks that I added right here. You can see those 2 that are supporting the back of it, so it stands upright and beautiful and it doesn't have any problems falling over. I am taking some black paint and I'm going to paint everything where the wood is brown. I'm going to paint it all black. Now here's a tip. When you get to the letters, do not use a paintbrush. It wants to keep going off the edge of the letters. It's better to use your finger, and you're just going to roll the paint on and just take your time. This part's very therapeutic. I love using my hands with paint. It always makes me feel super calm. I always find my breathing slows down and I'm really focusing on what I'm doing. So once I've gotten all the letters painted and I've gotten the sides and the back, everything painted, and everything is dry, we're going to move on to the distressing part of it. And friends, you can paint your sign whatever color you want. I could see this being very beautiful as a red, if you want to go with brown, because that's a very trending color this season. Isn't that so funny how some seasons, some colors are more popular than others, and right now it's brown. I always think it's so funny. But I do actually love the trends. I find them fun. Once everything was painted and dried, I'm now going to come in with my sanding block from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to rough up the edges to give it a farmhouse look, because I still love farmhouse. Just because that's not trending so much anymore doesn't mean we have to give it up. I'm going to just sand it lightly all over the edges, and then it's ready for my home. I truly hope you felt inspired by these projects today. I always have so much fun sharing them with you. I am so grateful you are all here and you watched this video today. If you missed it, there have been a few new videos that have been coming out. Notifications have gotten really weird here on YouTube. So if you see them or you haven't seen them, make sure always to check out my gallery. I have new videos as well as a 10 series episode of Fall Crafts that's new as well. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I'm going to link those newer videos right here. Thanks for being here today, and until the next episode, bye friends.